Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Did you like my little dramatic pause there? Did it keep you guessing?
Yes, it did. It kept me guessing. What are you gonna say? Are you gonna say my name?
Yeah. Who am I? What's my name?
Or according to my new ID for my new client that I'm about to start at, my name's Scott Harvey.
Scott Harvey. Oh, I like that. You should change your name to that.
Oh god,
nice. So, this is Bitstorm, and we usually start with click pitch, but something happened during the week, and I just thought it might be funny to try to do something with it on the podcast. So, my son is 4 years old, nearly 5, and he got an invitation to a birthday party, which he was telling me about. And this invitation happened to have characters on it from a certain movie series that he's had a bit of exposure to, but isn't really familiar with. So see if you can guess what it is, because he wanted to tell me all about how this birthday invitation had R2-B2 and the Golden Man on it.
That's Star Trek, right?
I think it was Harry Potter. But I heard that and I just thought it would be really interesting to try to make an off-brand Star Wars called R2-B2 and the Golden Man. It sounds like maybe kind of a bit of like a 70s buddy cop or something kind of thing. Maybe they're a band. I don't know.
For some reason, I'm seeing them going through the desert, but they're on Earth. So they're definitely not in space. They're literally on Earth, and they're just looking for an oasis or something like that.
Right. And how do they get there? Like, are they in a band? That they just like somehow their tour bus got off track? They're to a spaceship. I
kind of like the idea that they just wake up in the desert and they're sort of like handcuffed to each other.
God, so it's a bit of like a hangover situation. It's like, what happened last night, Golden Man?
Oh no, what was it?
R2-B2?
R2-B2? R2-B2 sounds like two different vitamins that you need to take.
It's actually just a story of a busking statue, human statue, who is a little short on his vitamin B2 and R2.
What's R2?
Ritalin. The Ritalin gets him up, and then the B2 is that in Vegemite? I don't know. Is that the one in Vegemite?
B12 is in Vegemite.
Oh, come on, it's close enough.
I think B2 is in bananas and shit, but
no, it's B2.
It is.
It's B2. Riboflavin.
Riboflavin.
It's the name of the game. Riboflavin. It's just like, it's kind of like one of those, slightly misleading names. You just name it after something random. You just see the title scene, right? Mm-hmm. So he wakes up in the desert. He's got his robot companion. I'm going back to that. And it's just quiet. You just see it fade in. Riboflavin.
I just wonder if it's actually like R squared B2. So.
Oh, yeah. So like the radius of a. No, wait. What's the circumference formula?
Pi R squared.
Pi R squared. Yeah, there you go. It's pi R2-B2.
Okay, I think we've done enough on this.
All
70s
right.
knockoff.
All right. Well, let's just click pitch then.
Click pitch is a game where we both have a random word generator in front of us. On the count of 3, 2, 1, we're going to click refresh. We'll both get a word. We'll mash them together and come up with a game design idea. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, click.
Pi R squared.
Saving.
I got circle. So circle and saving?
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, I'll tell you my dumb idea, and then you can go with your much better idea. So,
all right.
I've got an idea in which the circle is a pie.
Okay.
And you're saving a piece for yourself. So you got to sort of like dish it out to everyone else, and you got to try and save your awesome bit for yourself. But more people keep on coming, so you have to start like divvying up smaller and smaller pieces.
Right. So it's kind of a game where about that scene in Office Space where you're like passing the cake along.
Yep.
You know how what's his name? What's the character's name? Melvin? No.
Yeah. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. The one that the comic strip was actually based on, who was barely in the film. Yes, that guy.
Well, he played a pretty Milton. He played
Milton,
a pretty important part. Like he burned down the whole place.
Yeah, but
anyway.
he wasn't the main character, which is what the comic strip was all about. So I don't know.
Anyway, I didn't know if there was a comic strip. Yeah, so is it? I could see a game where you have to like strategically hand out pieces of pie or cake in like around the room to ensure that you aren't the one who misses out.
Yeah,
like it's not just that people are in a circle; they're kind of in lines that overlap and stuff. And so, depending, you have certain rules of how people will pass the cake based on who's close to them or something. So it's a bit of a puzzle game. Like you start a level and there's just a room of people with a cake. And maybe you even get to, in some levels, like choose the spot you take when the cake starts getting cut, or you have to get there before the cake starts getting cut or something.
I think we actually had this as a mini game in one of the previous games that we talked about.
We may have. But this is the fleshed out sequel.
Because I remember you saying something about getting into the right position for when the cake comes out. I'm like, oh, this rings a bell.
So after 78 episodes, we don't have any new ideas.
So this is the final episode of
We're done. Okay, well, I'll talk about my idea, because the thing I thought of...
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the 2015 movie Circle?
Yes, I did. I was bored one night on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched this in the middle of the night when our twins were very young and were keeping us up all night.
Mm-hmm.
And so to keep them down, we'd be in the room with them and I'd watch a lot of movies.
So why don't you tell our listeners about the movie Circle? Just a quick rundown of it.
Yeah, so basically 50 people wake up in a room and they're all in a circle. Well, I think they're in two circles. And basically they have to figure out what's going on. And if they do something wrong, then they die. Like basically a laser comes and just kills them.
Yeah. Basically, people are voting who should actually go next. So
yeah, they figure out that they can vote for who goes, and it's quite an interesting movie because literally there's basically no set, right? Like the entire set is just these 50 people and lights on the ground.
Yep. And it's actually amazing at how much story they were able to wrangle out of these random people that you don't know anything about, and you're all of a sudden like, no, don't kill that person over there, and you're sort of rooting for like a certain faction to go a certain way. And
it's kind of a psychological thriller down to its purest form,
So I'm picturing this as a VR game.
Oh, that could be interesting because then
multiplayer.
Oh, okay. With like 50 people at once.
50 people at once. It's PUBG in a circle in which if you step outside the circle, you die. It's
how many things have we done lately that are it's PUBG and but yeah, I mean I guess that's it. It's last man standing or last person standing.
Thing is, you stand on your spot and with your microphone enabled and all that sort of stuff, you've got to argue your case as to why you shouldn't die.
Right, so we go with the most literal translation of this movie into a game. I mean, that's cool. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I feel like well, because you know what? If you could get this happening, this would be perfect for streaming because people would watch that shit. It's like reality TV.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly if, like, I'm almost picturing... Now, I don't know if this ever ended up coming to Australia, but do you remember Xbox had that, like, 1 versus 100 or something that they were experimenting with where you literally get to play in a game show that was sort of televised via Xbox? Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't. Sounds cool, it was intriguing.
Yeah, it didn't do very well, unfortunately, and they canned it. But basically, yeah, it was like a trivia show. Yeah, there was actually a live version.
Yeah, I remember actually seeing the live version of 1 versus 100.
Yeah,
and basically, if you got an answer wrong in the 100, you were out, and you were just sitting there for the next hour.
yeah. But look, the idea is that the one gets a chance to win good prizes, and I think there are ways for you to become the one or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works, but I kind of like that idea that maybe there's something at stake, like winning gets you something in this circle game, so that it's not just you're not just having people come in and like troll shit or whatever, and like I mean maybe they are and that's part of the strategy, but you want people to take it a little bit seriously.
Let's just say that the people that actually win they go into a draw to like win real prizes.
Yeah, exactly. Or money or whatever, like whatever you want to do. But I could see this working really well on Twitch, and you could even have like a camera person in there to sort of, or just be smart about what you focus on and who you focus on. But I think having an actual person doing that, because they're going to get a sense for the relationships that are starting and growing between different people, and whether there are alliances, and obviously there's a time limit on it, right? Because they had, exactly how long each game's going to go for.
Well, I'm thinking like every say 30 seconds, someone dies.
Yeah, you probably speed it up a bit, so you're not playing for like 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah, because in the movie it was like every 3 minutes, like they randomly choose someone to die, unless people
had voted. Yeah,
had voted. If one person had voted, then the highest votes wins. But if no one votes, then someone randomly gets chosen. Every 30 seconds, someone dies.
Yeah. So yeah, it's quick. You could maybe make it speed up, like that at the beginning it's not every 30 seconds, it's like every minute or two, just so you've got a bit more time to gauge everyone in the room, and because otherwise I think it might just be too hectic.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like that could be really cool, and I could see people watching that.
Well, the thing is, have you ever gone into like a PUBG match or Fortnite or anything like that, and you've had that one person who's so obnoxious on the mic, like they've got music blaring?
Oh yeah, well this is it. You get the perfect opportunity to...
Every single person just votes for that person. That person just, his head explodes.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea that the more votes you get, the gorier your death is. Like, literally everyone votes against you, and like just a horde of wolves comes and tears you apart.
I'm just now imagining like there's like a serial killer just walking around the outside of the room.
It's not even like, automated.
Duck, 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 goose.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could work, and I mean, similar to the Xbox one, which according to Wikipedia was funded by advertising dollars, you could probably do that. If people are watching on Twitch, you could have ads showing. Yeah, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Just like slams a Coke bottle into his skull.
Oh, God. Machete.
But there could be really interesting strategies around... Look, you'd have to be careful to make sure... Because, look, this is the internet and it's full of misogynist assholes that there's no targeting based on the person themselves. Like, it kind of needs to be... You could have some pretty horrible shit happen. I guess you could kind of say, well, maybe that'll just work itself out because people will vote them out if they do that. But like, it depends on the group you get. Then
you just got to have really strong like reporting rules that if someone reports someone and they're investigated, like you could have a recording on the server side of each one and have a team of people, sort of like in Facebook, how they go and
yeah. I'm not sure we can generate
sort of stuff.
I'm not sure we can generate that much advertising revenue, but whatever, we'll figure that out. Or maybe it's the camera person. Maybe the camera person has some control to like kill people if they and punish them if they're being horrible.
Mm-hmm. Be an interesting social experiment, at least.
Yeah, just like the those prison experiments and and America.
And with that, 3, 2, 1, click.
Breakfast.
Progress.
Okay. Is this progress through eating breakfast or making breakfast, do you think? Maybe it's a time management breakfast buffet game.
Ooh.
In VR.
So in other words, you're working at, say, like this high class hotel, and it's a breakfast buffet.
Well, actually, it's funny. The high class hotels, they're the ones that make you pay for like Eggs Benedict and you don't get free Wi-Fi. It's actually like a mid-class hotel where the Wi-Fi is complimentary and they have a fucking awesome breakfast buffet.
And none of this continental shit. It's like full on, do you want a pile of crispy bacon? We'll give you a pile of crispy bacon. They've
got a fucking waffle maker.
Oh, fuck.
One of those like do-it-yourself ones where it beeps when you need to turn it over, spin it, like... Yeah.
And then you fuck that maple syrup off and just go whipped butter on top. There we go.
No, fuck that. You need maple syrup.
No, fuck maple syrup. We've already talked about this. Maple syrup sucks.
This podcast is over.
Okay.
Yeah, we have talked about it. Yeah, so because you don't want to run out of waffle batter, then the buffet goers will riot. So
and you got to make sure that you got enough egg whites for the egg white omelet for that guy who orders it.
Oh yeah, that one douchebag who's like, I know this is a breakfast buffet, but I need something special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you got enough of that. You got to have extra yolks for everyone else who actually doesn't want to be that guy.
Extra yolks. I want a yolk only omelette.
Fuck yeah.
That'd be gross. It'd be so dry. I like this idea, but I think we should make it a little bit surreal.
Okay.
So I want you to be like shoveling piles of scrambled eggs like you're shoveling coal into a fucking train engine. I want you to be like picking bacon out of the ground and throwing on the fryer or something. Like it's not your usual way of preparing this stuff. Like to get the waffle batter, you have to like tap a waffle tree or something like you would maple syrup, or maybe yeah.
You know what I really want? I want on one side of the room you've got like the bacon pile, and on the other side of the room you've got where you need to cook it. So you got to frisbee it across the room to land it on the grill. Yep. And obviously you got a progress bar as to how far through bacon preparation you are.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's all about how well stocked the different stations are, and what you've got on the grill, and how much of your giant pile of scrambled eggs you've got left, and whether you need to throw some more eggs into the like chute at the top that just spits out scrambled eggs, piles of scrambled eggs at the bottom.
So what you've got a slingshot in which you got to like hit the chicken to make it lay some more eggs. Yes, absolutely. And it lands into a machine that you hear it go, and then it adds more scrambled eggs to the pile.
Exactly, to the pile, which you then have to pick up the shovel and like shovel it into the mine carts that are going past, that then dump it into the actual like egg station. Like I want you to be you're basically working in the breakfast mines.
You know what I want now?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was on Futurama that there was a like a lightsaber style knife that could toast bread as you cut it. I think that'll just be perfect. That you got a loaf of bread and you're slicing the bread and toasting it at the same time.
Well, maybe you've got upgrades and stuff. Like maybe between levels, as you go through the levels, you get upgrades. So you do get the knife that toasts the bread as you cut, instead of previously you had to literally cut the bread and then put it in the toaster and wait for it. Things like that.
Oh, but I'm imagining that the toaster that you've got is like 24 slices at a time.
Oh yeah. Look, you can do a lot at a time for sure.
Oh, and if you're really good with your VR, then you can like shuffle the toast and sort of flick it into each one.
Totally. Yeah, I love that. Well, and you can do things like, in the early levels, you literally have to slice. You have to go like slice to cut up the bread, and later on you get like one of those bread slices. Or, I don't know, something more surreal than that. Maybe you just get a knife that has 20 blades.
And they're all lasers, so you just cut them all in one hit. You pick
up well, that's it. Then that's a further upgrade. Then they turn into lasers, then you don't even need to use the toaster. Yeah, I don't know. What other sort of upgrades what can we do for pancakes? Because you've got, pancakes and waffles is pretty similar, but if you've got the do-it-yourself
totally
waffle...
different, though. Like, because you got the do-it-yourself waffle, like, press that, just sort of...
Yeah. Whereas pancakes, you have to cook in some way.
So I'm imagining that you've got like a massive, like snow shovel size sort of like
spatula. Yeah.
That basically you
can pick up like 10 pancakes at once on this huge grill.
Yeah. So you got the squeeze bottle that you go squeeze, getting all of them done as soon as.
Well, no, it's got to be like a gun. It's a pancake batter gun or something.
Okay. Bang. All 10. And you under flip.
Yep. But we've got real physics on it, so they could just go flying if you fuck it up.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, if you do it too fast, then...
I love the idea of what one of these levels could look like at the end. There's just fucking bloody scrambled egg everywhere and pancakes all over the ground and links of sausages hanging off the chandelier. I love it.
Yep, so do I.
I so want to play that game. I want to make that game. That's one of those ones where I'm like, I could do that. Come on, we could do that. All right. That's
awesome. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah.
Large.
Long. Large and long. So, obviously, it's a game about
Sausages.
And snakes. Sausage snakes. Well, this is part of the last game. Maybe in the previous game, the sausages
actually,
are
you know what
actually
it's
sausage
about.
snakes that you have to catch. Yeah.
It's about witches' hats.
Okay.
So,
So for those who maybe don't know that particular colloquialism, we're talking about, I don't know, I can't remember the other word for them now.
safety cones.
Safety cones, yes. We're talking about safety cones. Traffic cones.
Yep.
I think I think witch's hat is a particularly regional term for that.
Like Melbourne-y sort of thing.
I think so, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Okay,
Let us
so
know in the comments.
yeah. Send us a tweet. Do you say witch's hat for traffic cone? Because we do. We're one of those weird Melbourne folks. All right, so What's the game? You sounded like you had an idea.
Yeah, so you're a inspector in a witch's hat factory.
Okay.
Again, this could be done in VR. Oh, like, there's just so much.
Yeah, it's one of those episodes. One of those episodes.
So there's an anthropomorphic. No.
That one's for the Inconsolables.
Yeah, that one's for you, Sammy. Okay, so I'm picturing that you're looking for the certain size witch's hat, and each day you can be looking for different variations on that.
Okay.
Sort of like just an inspector having to.
Right, so you're inspecting the witch's hats, and today your factory is generating 35 centimeter witch's hats with a base of 20 centimeters.
Yep.
And you need to make sure that they are within certain limits.
Yeah. So the idea being that you've got to make sure that the base isn't too large or too small, and you've got to make sure that the height isn't too long or too short.
Okay. So do you basically just you have I'm
thinking
like a rule, like a
two rulers, one for vertical, one for horizontal, and that's your VR controls, and you sort of put it down, and then you can use.
Oh, I see. I was more thinking that they'd be permanently fixed in place behind the conveyor, and so as they go past, you kind of having to eyeball it and see that it measures up correcely to each ruler.
I'm picturing that you've got it in your hands, and so that the way to get rid of the ones that you don't want is you actually flick it with one of the two rods that you got in your hand. So you flick it.
Well, I was thinking that to add some challenge, the ones that you don't want, you have to stack.
Again, two rods, and you got to sort of balance it.
No, I think maybe you can grab them or something, but you have to maybe just. I don't know if you just have to find places for them. Maybe you have to wear them on your head. Maybe I wonder how that would be really hard. It's a shame that the VR units don't have any haptic feedback in the headset, because I like the idea of having to balance them on your head and having some sort of feedback if you move too far to the left or the right that they're going to fall. And obviously, the more you put on there, the more likely they are to fall.
You wouldn't just need haptic feedback; you'd need weight, because that's what you're literally doing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the haptic feedback would be a start. It'd be interesting to have some sort of visual feedback in the world. Maybe you're looking at your shadow as you stack these things on your head.
And, you're trying to bend down just so that you can see it with, as you were saying, the silhouette on the back. On the
exactly. So you can get the measurements right, or maybe you do have your rulers and you're having to, but it's not quite within reach. So the more, the better you're doing, basically, the more you pull off the conveyor, the harder it is to do your job, because you're literally having to balance all these things on your head.
So I'm thinking that you could have lots of different stations. Like the first one could just be talking about the base, and then your next station the next day is talking about the height. But then then it's
the color,
the pattern. Like the circumference of the little hole on top, the circumference of the big hole underneath, and
how many witches are inside it?
This one's got 3. That's 3 too many.
You got to shake it. You got to shake everyone to get all the witches out.
Occasionally, this black actual witch's hat comes down.
Well, that could be a power up or something. Maybe that you put that on your head, and it makes all the other ones disappear. It resets you back to 0. But you have to flip it. You have to I like the idea though that as you put these on your head, you have to flip it higher and higher to actually reach. You have to get it up there.
Yep.
I'm not sure how you'd do that. Could be difficult, but I like the idea.
Yeah, so do I.
That's cool.
3, 2, 1, click.
3, 2, 1, click. System.
Drove.
Drove?
Yes. Okay, so I see this as like an adventure game.
Okay.
Set in the not too distant future.
Okay.
In which we have a new AI that has come in, and it has been set to basically become the next driver. Like, it's automated cars.
Okay,
and all that
this is
sort of
automated
stuff.
cars.
That
All
sort
right.
of stuff's happening at the moment.
Yes.
So this is the new system, and the first day that it goes live.
What's its code name? Wheelman.
Golden Man.
Golden. R2B2.
Pi R squared. Yeah, so I'm thinking that the first day that it goes live, there's like a massive accident that occurs, and you're maybe one of the system engineers who has to come in and investigate what actually happened.
All right.
So
I like this, despite the fact we do a lot of investigation games. It does just make sense for what our show is, that
Yes.
you come up with stories and you have to find out what happened. So, yeah, I like the idea that you're having to do like system diagnostics and stuff, and that's where you're getting some of your clues and like go back through the logs of these different cars. Like, you know, it's a 7-car pile up or something.
yeah,
And
every single one of them driven by this new AI.
yeah, and you're trying to find like the one thing that set all this off. And so, yeah, you download the logs of this car and you get the last, 3 minutes before the crash, but some of it's corrupted. So, you only get certain aspects of it, and you know that, at this time it saw a bird but it ignored it. And at this time it thought someone was going to cross the road, but then they didn't. Like, you could really have just these really semantic things of what this car has seen, what the AI has seen, and how it's reacted. And then, yeah, having to untangle that throughout this just a few minutes timeline,
Yeah, but from 7 different angles. It could actually
exactly from 7 different angles, and some of it's missing and some of it's corrupted, and maybe it's that you find out that some of it contradicts the other, and there's some sort of tampering that's happened, and that takes you even further.
Then you can go into corporate espionage, and you're literally just following it from an engineer's point of view, and it's very different from anything that we've done before.
Then maybe you're doing things like logging into the sort of the mainframe, and maybe there's some sort of hacking thing or some sort of social engineering you have to do to get in there, because you're trying to find this person that like doctored the logs of this car. And to find them, you're using the AI systems of all the cars that are on the road to do like facial recognition across the whole city. Yeah, that's cool.
So, like, I remember there was a couple of games released not too long ago. Like, one of them was Uplink, one of them was Hackernet and that sort of stuff. I really enjoyed those games, and just the idea of being able to, you literally just hear, sort of like from an Orwell point of view as well.
Orwell, that's the other one I was thinking.
You're sort of seeing things from just your desktop. So all the investigations happening on the desktop, and you can basically...
Well, I think with this one, I like the idea that, look, yes, all the puzzle solving and all the investigation is through these computer systems.
Yeah, but there's some actual external like cutscenes.
Exactly. And so you're talking to people. You're talking to people in the world as well. You're making phone calls, but the majority of where you're actually getting your information is through all these different computer systems. The AI log of a single car, or the whole mainframe, or just like hooking up to a phone system. Like, maybe that's how you even have to get a call to the right person, is you have to log into a phone system and manipulate it in a certain way.
So I'm seeing the start of the game will just be like there'll be a single car accident, and you got to investigate that and sort of use. You get to know some of the tools that they're
a little bit of a tutorial, to start the going and to get through the logs and see the different. You literally get their view of it in video with different overlays for. Because have you seen those overlays that like the Teslas and stuff have as they analyze the video of stuff? It's really cool. You can see in real time the video that they're seeing, and then based on, because obviously all their other sensors and stuff too, but based on, all right, here's a street sign, here's a pedestrian, here's another car, all sort of highlighted and stuff, basically what the computer is understanding. So I love the idea that you could go through this video and turn those on and off to really see what the AI is thinking at any point and how it's analyzing it.
Yeah. And then maybe, in one of the earlier sort of missions, because I'm seeing it as like an Orwell sort of mission-y sort of thing, that you've got certain things to do on the day and that sort of stuff. So you can have a few different car accidents. You're not just getting like the one to look through. But I'm picturing that if you look closely at one of the speed signs, like as your car's going by, you actually see someone come out and stick like some sort of reflective sticker on it.
You get you start
like a
getting
QR code or something.
You start getting a sense of people who are trying to disrupt the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And so maybe later on, maybe if you're paying attention to the right things, it's not even necessarily on the critical path of the game, and it might be before you get to that big accident where you like find out for sure that someone's tampering with this stuff. If you're looking right, you see the video alter a bit, like maybe as they go past a speed limit sign, if you're doing it frame by frame, you literally see it change from like 60 to 80 for a few frames or something.
Yeah.
Because there's some sort of hacking going on of the AI's brain, basically.
Did you ever see the TV show Fringe?
Oh, yeah. And I think, you know what? I don't think I watched the last season, which is ridiculous for a show like that. But yes.
Yeah. So basically, in the first season, when you started watching, you started noticing that, like, in every single episode, there was, like, this one bald-headed guy who was all the way through, and they basically they were pretty much in every single episode, I believe.
I think they were
called
yeah.
observers.
Yes.
And I like the idea that you could have like an observer sort of thing hidden throughout all the missions, that if you happen to like pick up on seeing maybe not necessarily a bald-headed man, but you know something similar to like a
maybe it's
a
even
Stan Lee cameo or something like that.
Well, or maybe it's even a certain type of car or something, or a certain car with a particular number plate. Although I mean that's a little bit less obvious perhaps, but.
Yeah.
It's almost just an Easter egg that if you're replaying the game, you're like, oh, holy shit, like that was there the whole time.
Yep. Oh my god, they actually gave away the ending in the very first scene. I think that's just such a vivid. We can create such a vivid word picture with that.
I love that idea of there's something so interesting because it makes you feel like a hacker, right? If you do it right, sorting through videos and data like that. And look, I do this in my fucking job every day. Like, I go through log files to find anomalies when something goes wrong. But there's something fun about it. There's something so rewarding about it when you find it, when it's like in this huge pile of
that puzzle. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a puzzle. In this huge pile of data, I found that anomaly and solved the puzzle. Yeah, 3, 2, 1, click. Creator.
Pull. Yeah,
the pool creator.
I've just got this picture of it's literally a god game in which effectively God is your god, and you're sitting there in a skeet shooting range.
Okay,
and basically
it's like planets or something.
Yeah, you're launching planets. And
that's like the most. It's like the most literal version of those two words that you could do. But yeah, okay, I like it.
Yep.
You get points for how many like souls you destroyed.
Either souls that you destroyed or how many. I'm just trying to think whether each one of these is just a big bang. So
this is how the universe was created. God was skeet shooting. So is it VR again? Because I feel like, a la Duck Season or whatever, this sort of gameplay works pretty well in VR. Yeah.
I don't think it can be as good on like a HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift though. I think you need like that, what's it called? The
Pimax or something?
No, that controller that they've got for the PlayStation VR. The
Move? Oh, you need the actual gun thing?
You need the actual gun thing.
Oh, okay, because you just want that visceral feeling of destroying worlds.
I'm thinking what you have to actually have is like literally a shoulder stock that you can actually lock into place and make sure that you've actually got it, because you just want that visceral feeling of blowing up universes and
totally creating them, destroying them.
Yep,
we're the creator and the destroyer. We can do what the fuck we want.
You got any ideas for those two words?
No. Let's click again.
3, 2, 1, click. Train.
Eater. Okay, train eater. You play an anthropomorphic tunnel with teeth. No, I don't know how tunnels can't do much. They're pretty static creatures. Because all tunnels are actually the mouths of sentient beings, as we all know in this nightmare world we live in. Train Eater. I feel like that's like a cool nickname, kind of like Snake Eater, like Metal Gear Solid.
Oh yeah,
Train Eater.
So I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down a path that we haven't gone down that much.
Go down that path. Follow it. Do it.
It's a first-person shooter.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, we don't do this much.
No,
You're right.
so your whole thing as a train eater is that you can travel around, the country, sort of not necessarily solving crimes, but more like
Solving
being
problems, perhaps.
more judge, jury, and executioner of problems.
You're a fixer.
You're a fixer.
You make things go away in a violent fashion.
Yes.
Sure.
The only way that you get around is via train.
Mm-hmm.
So
because that's the mode of transport that is least trackable.
Yep. And given that, you you can maybe unlock new different places to go by opening up old train tracks.
Lines. Yeah, okay.
But I'm thinking that, a first-person shooter being able to go through and actually, fix people's problems by blowing people away a la Dirty Harry style with like a Magnum 357 or something like that. And then getting back on the train and, sort of riding out to the next place.
I just kind of had a visual, because I mean, you think of first person shooter and you generally think of waves of enemies that you're shooting through, and that's fine. But I kind of had a visual when you said that blowing people away with Dirty Harry. It really gave me actually an Assassin's Creed vibe where you're like trying to get close to your target and then you kill them in this violent fashion.
Oh yeah.
So a sort of more modern Assassin's Creed-ish thing where you have to strategize and sneak and whatever to get close to your enemy, and then you literally pull out your giant fucking
hand cannon.
Have them say their last words and blow them away, and everyone screams, and you literally just like jump on the train as it takes off, and you're off to your next destination.
Hell yeah! They call me the
Train Eater. Such a stupid name, but then so Snake Eater, makes sense. Yep. I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I like it that it's from a first person point of view. I like that you've got to sort of track down your target in this small town or whatever it is.
I wonder how that
picturing like a the American Midwest sort of thing, a quiet mountain town, and
small towns. You've got like one cafe, one bank,
a train station.
A train station, of course. I like the idea that someone comes to you and they're like, "I need you to solve this problem. Like this guy is beating up my brother and he's in deep with things." And it's like, "Is there a train station?" No, sorry, can't help you.
No, but there's a light rail. Still not a train.
It'll be extra. It'll cost you double.
Oh, you know what I want him to actually be? Like, I want him to be sort of a drifter.
I think it should be. I think it should be a woman.
Okay.
Yeah,
a woman with a hand cannon. Awesome.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know whether the drifter thing that I was picturing works.
That's fine. Way. Women can drift.
Yeah. But you know what I'm sort of talking about, like a boxcar hobo sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. They're just sort of living off the land, as it were, but in an urban or suburban way, or I guess more of a rural way, actually. But yeah, they're going where the train takes them. They're solving problems, and then they leave town.
On the count of 3.
Okay.
Tell me who you cast in this role.
Oh shit! All right, give me a second.
Yep.
Wait until I get it in my head. All right, I've got one that came to mind right away, and it's not perfect, but I'm just going to go with it. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Judi Sandra
Dench.
Bullock. You knew that would get me, Judi Dench.
I so want to see her in like a
pretty
dirty
awesome. That's pretty awesome.
It's like a Dirty Harry sort of role, and I'm thinking grizzled sort of.
Yeah, well, look, she was pretty fucking awesome in, what was it, Skyfall?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Like,
Judi
I like where you went with
Train
Sandra Bullock
Eater.
as well. I was there, but
That's a bit more traditional. Sandra Bullock is a bit more traditional kind of hard-ass heroine.
Yep.
Judi Dench, that's awesome. Judi Dench, Train Eater. That's the fucking name of this episode. Judi Dench, Train Eater.
I nearly said Maggie Smith, and I'm like, no. Judi Dench is much better.
Yeah, Judi Dench works better. Although Maggie Smith as McGonagall is pretty badass, but no, Judi Dench, I like it. I like it. She's got the build for it. I don't know what that. I'm not trying to be like.
She's
I'm
ripped.
I'm not actually making any comment on her physical structure. I just feel like her general shape and look is more suitable for this role than Maggie Smith, who's kind of a bit more lean looking and like taller. No, I like that kind of. Yeah, she'd own it. You know,
she would.
She can carry that fucking gun.
The only other person I was sort of thinking about, other than the Maggie Smith, was Meryl Streep, because Meryl Streep can do anything. But
yeah, well, she'll lose herself in the role. She'll actually eat a train before she even reads the script. Obviously, because this character doesn't actually eat trains. But she's like, well, I fucking ate a train.
Judi Dench train.
I love it. 3 to a click. We're not getting any better than that.
Hearing.
Sentient. I literally got sentient. Sentient hearing.
So I'm sort of going down the technology path again.
Yeah, okay.
So there was an episode of Doctor Who a little while ago that basically you had like these Bluetooth headsets that you could put in and it would connect you to the network.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking that it's sort of like the same sort of thing, that it's like there's a sentient AI that actually is running these not necessarily Bluetooth devices, like they could just be hearing aid sort of things that you just sort of put in your head. But the idea that this sentient AI has decided that humanity can't be saved, so it has to actually it's decided to take over all of humanity.
Okay.
Except for you, because you're in the bathroom.
So you're the only one who doesn't have one of these things?
I think so.
So it's a bit of an invasion of the body snatchers kind of vibe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'm seeing some RPG mechanics.
Mm.
Kind of like a Skyrim or something like that. In that, you're traveling through these cities, and basically these people are going about and doing like normal sort of things, and they don't bother you until they realize that you don't actually have.
That you're not in the network.
That you're not in the network.
That you're off the grid.
Like, I'm picturing that.
That's definitely the name of the game, is off the grid.
Yeah. I'm picturing that there's so many, like the AI has stretched itself so thin that it can't actually notice when, one or two of these,
right. Yeah,
these nodes actually see you and know that that you're not actually part of it. Like it's more of
but if enough people do.
Yeah. So
then
you can't go into like the middle of Times Square because there's too many people there.
So how do they tell that you're off the grid? Is it just they don't see the device, or?
I think at first, if you don't have a device, yes. I think later on you can sort of fool it into thinking that you do have a device.
Like you can put a broken one on or something.
Yeah. But I think if you start doing things that are out of character.
Yeah, that are counter to the AI's directives.
So I'm thinking that the idea being that you can save some of these people through like EMPs. So
you have to actually deactivate the device for that to work?
Yeah. I think EMPs are definitely the way that I want to go, because then you can free hordes of people at once.
I love the idea that you have to be strategic about how you do that, though, because an EMP has limited reach. You're probably at the beginning only going to be able to make fairly small ones.
Yep.
But that is hugely noticeable to the AI that all of these people are suddenly off the grid, and so everyone at the edges of it that it didn't quite reach, all of a sudden are like commanded to converge on your position. So it kind of creates this bubble of people who are off the grid, where and like a vacuum where everyone outside them then just rushes in to fill it because they're trying to get you at the center.
Yeah,
I like that visual a lot. Yeah, look, that's an interesting take on almost a zombie-ish sort of thing.
Yeah,
where like once they know, once they've been commanded to come after you, it's kind of this unstoppable. They're just doing what they're told, and they won't fight it. But with this idea of, well, but actually you can... Otherwise, they're just people. Other than that, they're just people.
Just got some crazy images in my mind.
Yeah.
Just after you actually like free some of these people, just seeing them remember all the things that they've been made to do and how like very bored they were because they were sort of trapped in their own mind, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I guess it comes down to what this AI's intentions are. Because sorry, what you said at the start that they've decided to just like, are they just subduing mankind?
Yeah, and basically they weren't going to like the reasoning of the AI is that people aren't going to help themselves, so she's going to help them, and the way that she's helping is by just like removing free will.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I do like the idea though,
or
that
suppressing free will.
Yeah, I do like the idea that when they wake up, because maybe as part of that, this AI, in certain situations, has made them like kill someone who was off the grid or who they decided was interrupting that, the master plan to save everyone.
Yeah.
And of course at the time they didn't question it, but yeah, there's all the memories come rushing back in once they're disconnected from the AI.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like that as an RPG. That could be cool.
I reckon we've got time for one more.
Let's do one more. Thumb
knocking.
Thumb knocking. This is a new way to show appreciation to someone. Like, how people will high five or they might fist bump. You literally just kind of like stick out your thumb and knock it into the other person's thumb. But with the knuckle, like it's actually really awkward. And I'm not sure what the game is. It's just a thing. Bitstorm's starting it. We're going to go around there. Everyone listening, all 20 of you, we're going to go around at PAX and we're going to put out our thumbs. And if you don't thumb knock us, we know you weren't really listening.
This far back.
I expect you to be fully caught up on our backlog.
Of 100 and something episodes by then.
By PAX, we'll be pretty much at 100. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thumb knock. That could be someone's name. Guinevere Thumb Knock. At your service.
Oh, God.
or like the name of like a dwarf, like not a dwarf, like a
fantasy dwarf.
Yeah, like a fantasy. Well, and I was even thinking like a smaller than that, like a what do you call
gnome
something?
Or something like that.
Yeah, like a gnome. That's what I was thinking of, like a gnome. It's like Thumb Knock the gnome.
Oh yeah. Now I'm just picturing this gnome.
Yeah, look, we could do a game about gnomes, like garden gnomes.
Yes, garden gnomes. So one of the things is at the end of each night, because I think each sort of day, you've got to be outside ready to like in your pose for the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The idea being that at night there's certain things that you've got to
achieve.
do. You've got to achieve, whether it's fraternizing with the other gnomes or it's
keeping the garden, like you do some of the garden upkeep.
Yep, keeping the garden tidy, making sure that there's no moles in the yard, so you're not
no
getting
moles,
molehills.
No moles in your organisation.
Yep,
to corporate espionage. What's the goal of these gnomes? What's the overall goal? Why are these gnomes congregated here? It's just what they do.
So it turns out that in every yard, like the gnomes are what sort of keep like everyone safe.
Okay.
I think they're
I like the idea.
guardian.
Yes, I like the idea that there's some sort of evil something that is trying to get into gardens.
And when they get into the garden, like they infect
all
the ground,
all the plants
and then,
get fucking pests, and nothing grows,
and that's just the start of it.
There's dog shit everywhere.
That's just the start of it. Later on, like there's full on like poltergeists and like possessions and shit happening.
I love that. Okay, I love this idea of gnomes as the protector of the house and the garden. Like that is really cool. So. And maybe it is that you've found a mole in amongst the gnomes. Maybe you found someone who's working for the dark wizard Flemnir.
I was actually thinking that it was not like a personable entity, just an entity that you could call the void or something like that. Like,
well, I kind of like the idea though that there are actual beings attacking. And maybe they're made out of void. They're void noids.
Null and void.
There's nulls and there's voids. There are void nulls and null voids.
And divide by 0 errors.
Totally. It's actually a very math-based game. No, I like this idea that there are kind of creatures made from whatever this dark stuff is, but they're sent by, the one singular evil Voldemort sort of character.
Yep.
But someone who's been controlled by them or who's working for them has infiltrated. And so you have to actually break out of your normal Guardian routine to, figure this out. And that means, going inside the house, which is, unheard of. And so I like this idea that because if you're going to be seen, you have to freeze. You have to go back into your pose. And maybe as part of the gameplay, or maybe when you start, you get to choose your pose, definitely. Oh, God, I love the idea of a gnome character creator. Where you get to choose your hat and choose your pose and choose your fucking facial hair and stuff.
Oh yeah,
your accessories and clothes and whatever. But you've got a button, it's like left trigger always freezes you into your pose.
Well, what I was actually thinking is you need to actually get back into your position on the analog sticks.
Oh God. Okay. So each pose has a particular
Well, you set how you want it. Obviously, it has to be away from the 0, and maybe there's a certain level out of how far that it has to actually go.
I love that idea when you're setting it up. There's all right, set your pose, and you're literally just moving the 2 thumbsticks, and maybe you've got the triggers sort of toggles as well to give you different things with your hands or something. And so it's literally the different directions that you're pushing those things in will make this gnome do different things with their hands.
So during the freeze position, you've got to keep that position. But during the day, obviously, you don't have to keep that position at all.
Yeah, of course. I love that idea because you've got this person looking at you and they're like, what the fuck is this gnome doing inside? And you're just shifting slightly. It's like, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move.
But I like the idea that it actually, it says it must be in the center of, it can't be on the edge and it can't be in the center, so it has to be. Oh God,
you got to keep it
in between, so you got that forward and backwards sort of movement.
Oh, I don't know. That's a bit tough. But anyway, yeah,
because
maybe
if you keep it up, and 2 triggers all the way down, well, that's easy, But if you've got it positioned halfway through,
but it's a boring pose, you see. People will choose. Well, because no, but you know what? Because when they're setting up their character, you don't tell them that they're going to have to do that. You just say, pick your pose. And they're like, oh, cool. And as they move the thumbstick around, the hands move and, different positions they might even have different things where if you put the right hand kind of up on an angle, they're holding a tray like a waiter. But if you put, both hands together up near each other, they're together holding a fishing rod or something. So you come up with different combinations for all these different things, and somehow the gnome, they're magical. They can just conjure the item they need. But yeah, then you find out 10, 15 minutes into the game that if you're ever spotted, you have to do that really quickly and hold it. And they're like, oh fuck. Why did I choose this one that's like a yoga pose with the left
with him feigning masturbation?
Yeah, totally. It's close to both hands forward and close to the body, but that's slight angles because that's how I do it, baby.
One of the things that I do want to see is that this gnome that you choose is really, really, really good at martial arts.
Okay,
so
that's just standard. Yep.
It's just standard. So
it's a combat-based game. Yeah, I mean they're all fucking they're all fucking guardians and stuff, man. They know how to.
They're doing flips and shit, and it's very Batman or Shadow of Mordor style combat.
Oh, I'm thinking even more fucking Bayonetta, full on.
Oh yeah, or the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I love that. Yeah. And then having to freeze, and everyone freezes all at once.
Oh, I love the idea that everyone has to freeze. Yeah, and you have to be really careful not to because there'll be some platforming elements and stuff. But I'm just picturing you're in the house and you got to get over there across from the fridge to that cupboard. But someone in the house is in there making a peanut butter sandwich. It's all right, I'm going to make this jump. Oh shit, they see me. Freeze. Oh crap, I just fell to the ground and shattered.
Oh yeah. That'd be cool.
Yes.
So I'm thinking one of the boss levels, like you're fighting someone in like the bedroom of the house, and if you make too much noise, you actually wake the person up. So you've got to freeze.
Right.
They look around, they go back to sleep, and then you can go back to fighting, and you've got to try and keep the noise down and all that sort of stuff.
Do your enemies freeze too? Is this like entirely hidden war, or do they not follow these rules?
I think it's a entirely hidden war, and that
so they freeze
do actually freeze as well.
Right. Maybe it's actually maybe it's not just we can't be spotted. Maybe it's literally if these creatures are seen to move in the sight of humans, they just like disintegrate. Like, it's actually something built into the core of their being.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh my god, the humans are going to find out. It's like, no, this is life or death. If a human sees us move, we turn to plaster and disintegrate.
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking is they could actually almost be like a Medusa sort of thing, that if you're seen by a human, you immediately start turning to plaster, and you got to get your positioning
right
in time.
Otherwise, you never come back from it or something.
Well, otherwise you'll get found out, and it's like, hang on, this doesn't normally look like this pose, and they start determining that
right.
Maybe this gnome is actually moving.
Well, I don't. Yeah, maybe. I feel like that adds a whole other. I don't know. Adds a whole other something to it. Whereas the idea of you just die, like you just die.
You bastard.
Yes, I did just send Trevor a picture of two garden gnomes fucking. I was just trying to get an idea for the types of gnomes they were, and I came across that.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, I reckon that'll about do tonight.
Probably enough. Yeah. So, thank you for listening to Bitstorm this week. We are on the internet in a bunch of places, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to find us there, we are Bitstormcast. On all of those, we have a Facebook group that does not get much use, but whatever, come and visit us there. Facebook.com/groups/Bitstorm. We are on Podchaser at podchaser.com/Bitstorm. And we're also on YouTube. We have a few videos up there from us playing adventure games and a couple of other things. So just search for Bitstorm on there, or point, click, repeat. Maybe you'll find us. We should probably put a link up to that somewhere one day. Anyway.
Yeah, should do. We'd like it if you could rate and review on iTunes, as well as subscribing to us there. Got a website, bitstormcast.com. Like to plug all our awesome friends at the AGPN, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Search for AGPN on Twitter, or the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. We'd like to thank Kurudus for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure. And finally, we'd like it if you could actually recommend us to your friends.
Do it. If you enjoy this podcast, tell other people, because we love doing it and we want to hear from people who enjoy listening to it.
Tell your friends and say, download this awesome show. You don't need to start from the start. Just
no, you can jump in anywhere. We don't really do
jump in with
jokes.
this episode.
Yeah, send them this one.
Judi Dench, Train Eater.
Yeah, look, surely that's all you need to say. They'll be into it immediately.
So if you could all do that, that'd be fantastic. Plus, it'll give us an idea as to how many people are actually listening.
Yeah, a few. So, thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm Judi Dench. Find me a train. I would like to munch on it.